sunny spaces, smiling faces, happy places. But every sunny space holds a shadow. Behind every smile are sharp teeth. And every happy place has something sinister lurking just below the surface.
Welcome to We Saw the Devil, the podcast diving deep into the chilling realms of true crime. Join your host Robin as she unravels mysteries that have left investigators baffled and armchair sleuths obsessed. Be forewarned, dear listener. We Saw the Devil is not for the faint of heart. Our unflinching exploration will take you to the darkest corners of the psyche and through the unimaginable depths of human darkness to unearth stark secrets to the harsh light of day. Nothing will be left untouched. Are you ready? Are you sure? We saw the devil.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to We Saw the Devil. This is Robin, and yes, guys, I am still alive. I am still alive. I am still here. I hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. I myself decided to take off the holiday season, had a lot going on, as y'all can imagine. And yeah, I just needed some time. I needed a holiday break. Especially big shout outs to those of you who don't have family nearby or any close family, or you had to spend the holiday alone. It sucks. I don't know about you, but 2023 was an absolute shit show of epic proportions. Even though I kind of have just very little hope for 2024 as a whole, I'm still hanging in, hanging on, and hoping for the best. But apologies for the radio silence here. I just really needed to take the holidays off this year, guys. But I am back, and we are continuing the Chris Chan saga. Before we get into it, just the really quick snippet of housekeeping is you know where to find us. WeSawTheDevil.com. We Saw the Devil podcast on Instagram. Started a TikTok, only a couple videos there. But yeah, things are back and things are chugging along. Outside of that, I mean, I know a lot of you guys had the holiday break off from jobs, work, responsibilities, things like that. So, did anyone watch anything of note? I started watching The Garden. It's about basically a commune here in Tennessee, and people are saying it's a cult and whatnot. Kind of ridiculous. Documentary wasn't very good, felt very highly scripted. But yeah, if you guys have recommendations, please let me know. I guess the big news is that Gypsy Rose Blanchard has been released from prison. That is kind of a huge deal. I don't know if any of you guys are following that in the news. Her exchange with Joy Behar on The View. Oh my God. It's very clear that a lot of people think that she took the right steps in her situation, I guess. And it's been wild, all of the reactions, like her getting on TikTok and Instagram and having, I think on TikTok, it's like what, 6 million followers now she has. And then telling everyone that she's on her husband's D every night and he rocks her world. And I just want to be like, sweet summer child. Like, I know that you've been in a hellscape for most of your life in one capacity or another, but don't say that your husband's D rocks your world every night. Also, he kind of looks like her mom, which is a little disturbing, but it's but that is one hell of a case. I'm personally glad that Gypsy Rose is out. I think that had Dee Dee not been murdered, Gypsy Rose would have ended up dead. She would have died 100%. And it's a really interesting case legally to examine as well. As much as I should be impartial on things like these, like I don't feel bad that Dee Dee is no longer amongst us. But the one thing I do wish, pertaining to Gypsy Rose, is that Nicholas, ex-boyfriend, the man who actually did kill Dee Dee, he should be released at this point as well, I believe. He received a life sentence for his role in the killing of Dee Dee Blanchard, and I think that he should also be released as well. In any case, I'm going to be doing a generic headline update episode because we have movement in the Lori Vallow case, the Chad Daybell case, the Idaho 4 murder case, a handful of others too. So the next episode is likely going to be just a generic headline update episode, just so we are all on the same page going into 2024, keeping up with these insane cases that have been going on for a little bit. But other than that, y'all, let's just go ahead and get into Chris Chan, I guess. We'll start with an update as to what he's doing now. I know that I've kind of taken a break for a bit, but he actually spent a considerable amount of time offline. He wasn't logging in, he wasn't doing live streams. He came back. His most recent video is just 4 days ago where he put a bunch of transformers on the floor and then kind of like narrated and talked about them. Last couple videos were like that actually. Then did an Etsy comments review video, and then yeah, he's been largely silent. He is on Twitter though, and it's really concerning seeing his Twitter following grow. Granted, he has 96,000 subscribers on YouTube. And let's head over really quickly to Twitter. Take a little gander, shall we? And then on Twitter, he has now 106,000 followers, up from the 91 a couple weeks ago. I guess the biggest news as of late is the fact that he and his no one knows if it's his girlfriend, if she's a friend, if she's a handler, no one knows. But on Reddit, at least, and Christery as a whole, she's known as Flutter. That's the name that Chris assigned her in one of his live streams. And if you're me, I refer to her as Cabbage Snatch. But I digress. So that's pretty much it. The big news is this weekend, if any of you guys live in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, Chris is there right now as we speak in the flesh. You can literally go meet Chris Chan in the flesh. He and Flutter are attending it. It's called Animate Raleigh, and it's put on by GalaxyCon, and it's basically just an animation, anime, and cosplay convention. But that is where Chris is now, and there have been multiple pictures that have been posted all over the internet of him in real life. Fans of his, or just awkward internet gawkers like myself, have gotten pictures with him and whatnot and posted on Reddit. But it's wild. It's wild that we are here. It's wild to have followed someone since 2004 or 5 is when I believe Chris got on my periphery for the first time, 2005 or so. And then here we are in 2024. All of this shit has transpired. He ended up going to jail, being released, and now just who knows. It is insane. But yeah, Raleigh, Animate Raleigh, Chris Chan is there as we speak, and we are going to go ahead and slide into it. But first, oh wait, guys, but first, I did get a YouTube comment from user Cthulhu3458, and they said, to be honest, I'd be very interested to know how you, a female, views Chris currently and through his past. Like, do you feel the need to white knight him because of the autism and the bullies? And he has the mind of a 9-year-old, like so many now do? Or do you see him for who and what he is and has been since birth? It would be very interesting to know details, etc., about it. I thought that was a very interesting question. And to be honest with you, I've been in the Chris Chan subreddit. I'm not proud of this fact, y'all. I've been in the Chris Chan subreddit for years, and I've never seen this question asked. And for me, I do not white knight Chris. I think that is because there have been many, many, many examples that show that Chris knows right from wrong. He legitimately knows right from wrong. He just doesn't care. I think why Chris Chan is so fascinating as a whole is like his entire life was like this fucked up, dark amalgamation of neglect from his parents, potentially some abuse, at least some grooming from his own mother. The system failed him, especially his parents, though, right? I mean, it was just a failure on every single front. So, nature versus nurture. Then you do have, as you mentioned, Cthulhu, the autism aspect as well. And exactly, I hate using the term functioning, but just how well he functions. It's wild. As a female, though, when we go back and we look at, his earliest behavior, which we don't have very much to tell us that in his early days, but we do have Megan Schroeder, right? Bless her. We do have the Megan Schroeder incident, and Chris was young enough in his early 20s to literally write down that he would have raped her if he could. That he would have raped her if he couldn't like relieve himself. I do believe that Chris is a predator. I believe that he's been a predator for a very long time. I think that Chris has a degree of narcissism, clearly, right? That if you put a developmentally delayed woman near Chris, Chris would not respect consent or boundaries. I truly believe that. And it's kind of scary to me that he is out. Yes, he's a joke and, so on and so forth and does ridiculous things. He quite literally thinks he is the second coming of Christ right now. Completely delulu. But I do also believe that he is a danger to society potentially. It sounds like, or seems like at least, that his current handlers or trolls or whoever is behind Flutter, at least, Caden, who knows, they seem to have contained Chris a bit at the moment, which is good at least. But thank you for your question. If any of you guys have questions, feel free to leave them on Instagram or the responding YouTube video, and I would be happy to answer them. I guess the only other news in the Chris Chan world is a couple things. Chris was recently invited to go on the LolCow podcast, and it's basically a podcast that interviews, well, I mean, lolcows. And they put up a poll a few weeks ago, and Chris won, so they contacted him. And I don't believe that Chris has actually responded to them as of yet. He has stated in the past that he's not a lolcow. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term, it's basically someone like Chris, or Abby Brown or Daniel Larson and a bunch of others that are just such absurd human beings for whatever reason that a bunch of people on the internet just observe or troll them. Like basically the most famous ones. So Chris found that term pretty offensive. Chris has been very vocal in the anime community online since he's been out of jail and back, and came back online at least. So someone on Twitter, someone by the name of Gleamy Dreams, posted, "Repost if you are against sexual predators being welcomed back into our community only because they apologized after getting caught." What's really interesting is that Chris actually replied to this. He said, "The misunderstandings linger from those who misconceive of others' intentions or lack thereof in pure accident or happenstance. Do not be close minded to apologies. And when one has authentically done nothing wrong or is not guilty of anything, especially after being proven this in court of law, they are to be welcomed back into society, period, without any further bias based on past misconceptions. As for those who have and are, or have redeemed themselves proper, let them be welcomed. And if they act improperly again, then they are to be shown to require more time to meditate and reflect for themselves." And here's the thing, lest we not forget, there's a popular YouTuber called Smokey McSee. He's been covering Chris Chan a lot. I love his channel. I highly suggest checking him out. But he talked about it in one of his more recent episodes, and he made a really good point. Chris keeps telling everyone, even on his live streams, when people poke and prod him about it, he's like, "No, nothing happened. I did not, fuck my mom," basically. And most of us, I know a lot of you listeners probably haven't if you're new to the story, but later on down the road, there was a troll who actually recorded a conversation she had with Chris, and Chris fully admitted to it. Gave insane amount of details that he otherwise would not and should not ever know. So we have heard the call with Bella. So that was kind of an interesting interaction on Twitter there. Other than that, Gino Samuel, who is the creator and narrator of the Chris Chan A Comprehensive History documentary series on YouTube, again, if you guys are not watching that, it has all the videos that Chris has ever posted. It's very well narrated by a guy named Gino Samuel. It's so gross to call it a labor of love, but he's doing it to give you the absolute literal comprehensive story. So he actually created his own merch, and he's selling medallions, and they look really good. Surprisingly, they look better than Chris's, but Chris knows who Gino is. And like a month ago or so, Gino was doing a live stream and Chris showed up in the comment section on YouTube. And considering this documentary series has had millions and millions and millions and millions of views, Chris knows about it. Well, Chris decided to tweet Gino and said, "Gino, don't even with a certificate. 3D printed never surpasses the full soul effort in handcrafting. It's not funny." And then he left a little GIF of like an angry cartoon character. And in true Chris fashion, as you'll come to learn in this episode, Chris decided to authorize people sending him gifts. On Twitter, he wrote, "I felt it well advised to state this once. If anyone wants to send me a gift, like something from Amazon, consider this an authentic empathy. If you or I, would you really want a joke or gag gift that shows off a meme or anything in really bad taste? Or would you rather feel better receiving a gift that was thought of with care and common sense to the needs, interests, and things you actually like and take interest in? Just consider that and gift to me kindly as you would or want to for yourself. Meditate on that. And then there's like a little Christmas gift there. So Chris is once again being like, please shower me with money and gifts. But all right, so let's just go ahead and go back. Let's back up the bus. I ended the last episode with October of 2015. Chris at this point had his final court date for the GameStop macing. Remember, he walked into GameStop. He was banned from both the mall and GameStop at that time, but walked into GameStop to the back. They asked him to leave, and he ends up pepper spraying the shit out of a GameStop employee. Now, his punishment ended up being a $541 court fee and a 6-month suspended sentence. And a few trolls from the Kiwi farm and the Quickie, they showed up and they posted their full experiences there. I discussed that in the previous episode. Well, Chris, after this saga was over, pepper spray saga, he immediately went back online to sell his little mini action figures and began to take commissioned art requests from people. Then we made it to November of 2015, which is where we're going to start today. So on November 1st, Chris apparently felt lonely and really sexy. So he published a video titled Hello, Lady Fans. And yes, it's exactly what you can imagine it is. It's an almost 2.5-minute video where Chris addresses his female fans. He's wearing a cotton nightgown and his hair is up in a towel. And periodically, he adjusts his shirt to somehow show more quote unquote cleavage. And yes, I use that term very, very lightly. And I'm so sorry to play softcore porn right off the bat here in this episode, y'all, but if I had to hear it, you have to hear it too. Now, it's called Hello Lady Fans, and the description in the video is as follows. Quote, only email me at anightinchristine@gmail.com, please. I personally look forward to meeting and getting better acquainted with the ladies who like me from the distance. And honesty is always a positive turn on for me. So please use your real name when emailing me. No anonymosity at all, please. And yes, that's what he said. A couple of days later, after the original publishing of it, he added, also, please do attach a current photo of yourself. Thank you. Let's go ahead and listen to this now.
Hello to all my lucky lady fans. Yes, I just got out of the shower. I feel clean again. Well, it gets lonely around here in my bedroom. I feel like I might want to date some of y'all. Maybe we get to know each other, Have a pleasant dinner, or just enjoy a conversation over a cup of coffee. See where things go, see how we feel around each other. Yeah, maybe I'll eventually find my sweetheart amongst y'all. See where things go, I'm open to all kinds of women, 'cause you got the whole package in one. The female soul, the body that can go any way you desire. My ladies. Straight, bisexual, lesbian. I'll take y'all on. 'Cause I'm an overlooked treasure that should not be ignored or overlooked any longer. So I think we should start getting to know each other, my loyal lady fans. And of course, you know who I'm talking to. Y'all. So just contact me at the email address I provide underneath this video. And we'll set up a lovely date just between the two of us. One weekend, y'all can visit. Maybe get a hotel room, y'all, for us to spend a lovely evening together in or something. Or maybe we'll swing by here. Well, get to know me, talk to me, see whether we click or not. Lovely, lovely times and memories to be shared. And even if things don't work out for the long run, you'll still get a new friend in me anyway. And I pinky promise on that. Thank y'all for your attention and whatnot.
Okay, so there are clearly a handful of quotable moments in this piece of trash, but I think for me, the most serious and telling one is, quote, I'm an overlooked treasure and I should not be ignored or overlooked any longer. I mean, that's the literal incel mentality and Chris's ego and sense of self importance. That's always been grandiose. It's absolutely insane, but just like he's entitled to female attention and he's always acted like that. So going back to the listener question I kind of addressed earlier. And he hadn't done something exactly like this in a while, so it kind of came out of nowhere to a certain extent. And this is a good reminder that it's still the same old Chris, just looking for a quick lay. Also in November, there was a new troll that went by the name Francine. Francine was a trans woman, dead name Jeff. And she made a fan game for Chris, like a literal actual video game for Chris. But she also sold unofficial Sonichu merchandise. Chris, of course, became positively enraged and published multiple videos where he disputed Francine's actual sexual gender identity. He expressed anger regarding the unofficial merchandise and he tried to verify his own identity by doxing himself. And like I said, he disputed Francine's identity, which is ironic considering that Chris himself, at that, claims to be a trans woman. Chris made transphobic comments like using Francine's dead name, called Francine a ladyboy. That's something that's been so interesting about Chris is that whereas Chris identifies as trans, he's always talking down on the trans community or any other trans person that he meets. Now, Francine was basically just an internet troll who started selling Sonichu merchandise on Zazzle just to piss off Chris. And he also made an OkCupid profile and modeled his own profile out of Chris's in this like really funny dark form of satire. Now, outside of this, Chris became really, really frustrated that he basically wasn't allowed inside of any of the stores that he used to frequent, like Walmart, GameStop, Best Buy, Target. And it wasn't just one or two that he was banned from. I mean, it was literally almost all of the ones in his state, like in that entire region of his state. So naturally, because he kept getting shut out of all of these places, he decided to go online to rally his quote unquote fans to enact some form of embargo on these places. Like he has the power to do that. On December 2nd, he made a video calling for his friends to go after them, calling for him to be unbanned. I'm going to go ahead and play this video now.
Hello, everyone. Slight update to the plan there. In addition to the embargo against the GameStop, Best Buy, and Simon Malls, we need to make sure that GameStop is well aware of this. And I'm not sure this is getting to the 1 to 4 stores address. So we need to go onto Facebook, look up the GameStop page, and message them as well as posting onto their timeline, letting them know that this injustice must be undone, that I should be unbanned.
A couple days later, he made an insanely bizarre Facebook post where he described his personal method for enlarging his own breasts. He said, quote, I have personally undergone my own experiment with vibrators on the breasts, #vibrating bra. I bought 2 remote and wired vibrating eggs. For a whole week, I have placed the vibrators between the outer sides of my breasts and inside my bra and turned them on to stimulate the blood flow into my breasts about 15 minutes a day. After the week, my breasts do feel and appear to be a bit larger and also more firm. So I definitely would call this method of natural breast enlargement, coupled with some natural or prescription estrogens, quite plausible. And not only that, the vibrations upon my breasts does feel good. The rest of December was largely the same, with Chris doubling down on getting unbanned from his favorite area stores and talking about the supposed growth of his breasts. He made multiple posts about his cleavage size and his breasts and those damn vibrating eggs, and then also just constantly bitching about being banned from all the different stores. Alrighty, y'all. So January 2016. The month gets off to a bang because on January 6th, Chris uploaded one of the most infamous videos from Christery. I'm going to go ahead and play it first. It's just 50 seconds long, and then we can discuss.
Hello, ladies. Once again, Christine Chandler coming to you live from home. He's my cat. I'm a cat in the way of two cats. But that's not why I'm making this video. I am making this video because I would like to let y'all know about the lesbian slumber party that I am planning on. The date has not been set yet, but I am extending the invitations. So, let me know that you would like to attend to my Night and Christine email address listed below this video. And we can have a night of fun and frivolous activities. And the application is open to all straight, lesbian, and bisexual women. So come on out and we'll have a sexy time. Thank you very much.
So in this video, for those of you who cannot see it, picture it. Sicily, 2016. Chris is sitting on his bed and he's looking like a cracked out Ben Franklin. He's got two of his cats are walking around him. And Chris decides to announce his desire for a lesbian sleepover. And then at the end, when he says sexy time, he pulls his shirt down in between his imaginary cleavage. And he posted this to YouTube. Calm down, it'll be okay. Rest assured that no one showed up to this sleepover. Not a single lesbian. I mean, what were they going to do exactly? Run a gauntlet through Barb's hoarding mess? Play hopscotch over dog shit on the ground that's probably everywhere on papers? Like, what exactly would that sleepover have entailed? Chris is clearly trying to solicit sex here. And my best guess is that he saw something similar in a porn film and wanted to reenact it. Don't forget that Chris is a legendary connoisseur of all different types of pornography. And this particular video has found itself utilized as fodder in a lot of questions and conversations concerning Chris's gender identity. Chris makes it very clear that he only wanted cis female women to show up. Whenever a trans woman or someone would mention a trans woman, albeit jokingly, asked if they can attend, Chris gets angry. He calls them immediately by their male pronouns. He says that only women were allowed. The entire ruse here, in my opinion at least, is pretty transparent. Chris makes a huge deal of saying, I am a lesbian male, or eventually at this point he's saying trans woman. So Chris is trying to claim female. Chris is publicly identifying as female, not respecting other trans people. But then when Chris tries to solicit sex, he utilizes it and says, I'm a trans woman. I'm looking for straight, bisexual, or lesbian women. And oh, by the way, I can do it both ways, basically with a vagina or, as he calls it, his duck. It's just very, very clear that he's trying to appeal, which to the largest demographic possible. So if he can claim, hey, I'm a trans woman, but I can do both, I'm looking for straight, bisexual, and lesbian women, I feel like this entire thing is a ruse to get him laid, to be honest with you. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Also in January, he's fooled by a random internet troll who pretends to be a British fan of his work. And he actually went on a lengthy interview, and then that interview was in fact published to YouTube. Naturally, Chris isn't professional in it, and he threw a pissy fit and was kind of upset when it was released, but it was kind of a fascinating snapshot of that time at least. In February, Chris ended his embargo over GameStop and Walmart. He also began to beg his Facebook friends to buy him a PlayStation 4. Remember, Chris got his tugboat or his Social Security. And now, him being the man of the house, over Barb, he has bills and stuff to pay. There's a mortgage, there's debt, mounting debt. At this point, Chris began to upload a lot of videos. But perhaps one that takes the cake here is one that was uploaded on February 26th, 2016. Remember back in the mid 2000s in previous episodes where Chris published a video of him drinking his own semen and with Fanta, orange Fanta? Well, bad habits die hard apparently. Chris isn't drinking his semen again, but he is collecting it. And he is collecting it in Tupperware containers multiple times. There's like 5 or 6 of them. And he is putting them in the house's freezer, like in their fridge in the freezer. He wants to be a sperm donor. He's hoping for physical, actual sex with a lesbian couple is what he's looking for. AKA, he's trying to solicit sex and saying that he'll become a sperm donor. So I guess the reasoning behind it is a little bit different, but it's really gross and really disturbing. And I'm gonna go ahead and play the video now so you can hear his explanation.
Hello, Samantha and Ellie. I'm Christine Chandler. This is my cat, Polo. Hi, buddy. You're sweet kitty. Anyway, so, yeah, this is me. And, I'm the one who's offering to lend the sperm out. I put out a fresh sample earlier today. I put in the fridge upstairs, which I will gladly go upstairs and show you in a moment. But yes, I am a lesbian trans woman, and I've been famous for my characters and books and whatnot for over a decade. Just as everything says true, and the only thing I regret would be the things I've recorded in the past I was blackmailed into doing, or against my original will that I would never do personally or regularly. Alright, so let's go upstairs and I'll show y'all. Oh yeah, here's the sample I put out today. I labeled it carefully. You can tell it's not as frozen yet compared to the older samples. Yeah. That was like less than a year ago. Well, anyway, that's all very good and everything, so hopefully y'all will still consider me for your donor. Thank you and have a good day.
And March was relatively uneventful, with basically the only event being Chris magically obtaining a PS4. Now, initially, he attributed it to a random fan, and that was a lie. His friend Kim Wilson, quote unquote friend, the troll Kim Wilson, basically divulged to everyone that Chris was a liar and that he bought it himself. And like I said a moment ago, Chris and Barb's finances, not good. And so begins the Finachu Crisis saga. You see, in February, Discover Card had filed a lawsuit against Chris's mom, Barb, saying that she owed $4,706.93. The next couple of months would go on to consist of multiple court appearances. I mean, actually, the rest of the time pre-jail was basically financial ruin and Chris begging. And we're going to talk about all of that when the time comes, but yeah, it gets pretty bad. So on April 12th, 2016, Chris uploaded a video called Please Donate. In the 9-minute video, he makes a plea for his followers to donate money to cover his and Barb's expenses and bills. For the donation, Chris promised a variety of different things, like a shout out, name in the credits of the comic, and then also Sonichu and medallion related items. The next month, May, saw the Johan saga. Now, because Chris apparently hadn't learned his lesson from previous mistakes and trolls and was still obsessed with impregnating a lesbian couple, he went to a forum where he met a couple, Sam and Ellen. And a guy named Johan was also in this forum. And you guys know the drill. Everyone involved was trolling Chris, and it's more the same. But this time, Chris was talking to Sam and Ellen about providing donor services. And then Johan, a former gay porn star who dropped out of the industry because of a failed STD test, came to bust it up. He told Sam and Ellen about the cake farts video and other things that Chris has historically done. And they didn't really want to talk to Chris anymore. Chris was rip shit livid. So naturally, the Johan troll challenged Chris to a sex off to be voted on by the general public. Each person was to simulate sex against a blow up sex doll. Chris recorded himself and literally humping this blow up sex doll into oblivion and uploaded the video, and there was a vote held. Johan did the same thing, and there was a vote. More than 7,000 votes were cast, and Johan won with a 16-point lead. And then Johan, Sam, and Ellen all disappeared into the ether very quickly thereafter. But it was still just a wild thing to witness. And last but not least, y'all, we have arrived to Women Only Need Apply, No STDs. This was a leaked video posted to the Quickie, and it's 2 minutes long. This is something that Chris posted, and he was trying to legitimately pimp himself out. He was trying to basically Backpages it. He was advertising his sexual services. And I'm going to go ahead and play the video now and let you hear it, and then we can discuss.
Hello, ladies. How'd you like to spend a little quality time with this sexy bod, huh? These sexy breasts. And the thing that I was wrongfully born with down there. Ooh. Good quality time. Can have it one way, or we can play it the lesbian way. So, for $50, we could do a cuddle. For $100, we could do pretty much near anything. I don't do anal, though. I don't do anal. But we'll do anything else. We can even romp with toys. And I have lots of hidden potential. So send an email. Give me a response. Tell me you want a little lovely, sexy evening with Miss Stephanie Buscakes. Advice to the email only. Nobody with STDs, and only women of any orientation need apply. No, straight, lesbian, and bi. Y'all got the pussy? I'm very happy to work with a little bit of that. I meant to show up my booty. Did booty look good enough for you? So, respond now.
Okay. So Chris had created a channel called Stephanie Buscakes on YouTube, and this video was posted there. And it shows Chris sitting on a bed, and just in case you couldn't understand it, I'm going to read the transcript. In his most attempted sexy voice says, "Hello, ladies. How would you like to spend a little quality time with this sexy bod, huh? With these breasts and the thing that I was wrongfully born with down there. Good quality time. We could have it one way or the lesbian way. So for $50, we could do a cuddle, and for $100, wink, you can do pretty much near anything. I don't do anal though. I don't do anal, but I will do anything else. We can even rock with toys. And I have lots of hidden potential. So send an email. I'll give you a response. Tell me one little lovely, sexy evening with Miss Stephanie Buscakes. Advice to the email only. Nobody with STDs, and only women of any orientation need apply. Well, straight, lesbian, and bi. All y'all got the pussy. I'm very happy to work. And maybe show off my booty. That booty look good enough for ya? So respond now. Wink." And then at the end of the video, there's text that says, "Women only need respond. Straight, lesbian, or bisexual. If you smoke, please put it out and air freshen the room prior to my arrival. No STDs. In area only, Charlottesville, Virginia, or local. Email to stephanie.buscakes@gmail.com for details and arrangements." Just holy shit, y'all. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's pretty unbelievable, albeit not. Also, the fact that Chris has kind of sort of done this before on OkCupid. But yeah, this is just absolutely ridiculous. It is not the first time, and it is not the last time that Chris is going to attempt to sell his body online in some form or fashion. But we are now right in the very beginning of the Finachu Crisis, and there is a lot more coming. But we're going to stop there for today, guys. As always, don't forget to follow the show on Insta at We Saw the Devil Podcast. Website is wesawthedevil.com, where you can find us everywhere there. Just go to wesawthedevil.com. Next episode is going to be a true crime episode with the current status of the cases that are going on right now. Again, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, the Idaho 4, the Delphi murders. Got a couple things there. And then I'm doing a very, very special episode about Knoxville, Tennessee, also next week. So be prepared for that one. Got a little inspiration. And yeah, I will see you guys early next week. If you have any questions or listener submitted questions, don't forget to leave a comment or question on YouTube or Insta. Again, best of luck to us, guys. Let's take a collective sigh. Let's collectively scream into the void and hope that 2024 is going to be our year. And with that, y'all, until next crime.